Davis branded Phillip Schofield out of order and biased on Today's This Morning as they clashed over his previous interview with Jeremy McConnell. The ex-Hollyoaks star, 23, wasn't shy about telling Phillip she found his comments during a February 2017 with Jeremy unfair towards her, although she doesn't feel that way anymore. Irish model Jeremy, 27, had told This Morning during an interview 2 months ago that Stephanie had demanded he sign an unreasonable contract before having a DNA test to determine whether he was the father of her baby son Cabin. At the time, Phillip said they couldn't disclose the contents of the contract on TV, but told Jeremy, "It's unreasonable. I wouldn't sign it. It has an impact on your entire life." That contract was mentioned in an interview with Stephanie on Today's This Morning, when the topic of Cabin's parentage came around. Phillip told Stephanie, "I saw the letter from you and your management team and selectors. We can't disclose what's in that letter, but I looked at it and said, that's not fair." Stephanie replied to Phil, who was sitting next to co-host Holly Willoughby, "I thought you were a bit biased with what happened in that interview. There was a certain element that you know what it's like to be a mum, and I didn't feel there was anyone sticking up for me. And with the letter, I did say he could make amends, and that never got read out." But Phillip told her he couldn't read out any of the letter, and what he'd been referring to were the terms of the contract. "It was out of order," countered Stephanie. "I just had a newborn baby. I had the worst pregnancy in the world and my son was in the special care unit." Phillip replied, "But you have a sensible team behind you." Stephanie agreed but said, "I was dealing with this myself as I was sick of everything going on. I did it with my solicitor and I didn't really read over it myself." When Phillip asked if she now accepted the letter was harsh, she replied, "Yeah, no person would sign it and I know that now, but at the time I was so angry. From my point of view I had carried a baby alone for 9 months and I felt he was snapping his fingers and demanding a DNA test. Now I understand he wanted to be a great father to Cabin, but for me, I wanted to keep Cabin out of that. I knew Jeremy was the father and didn't want Cabin growing up thinking his dad didn't think he was his, and for the whole public to know." Stephanie then said good did come of the interview as it was the catalyst for her picking up the phone to Jeremy, sorting the DNA test and the confirmation to come that he was indeed Cabin's father. "I called him the next day. I just thought that's it now, this has gone too far, let's just get it done," recalled Steph. And now she's back together with Jeremy and looking forward to the future. Stephanie said she's 100% supportive and happy that Jeremy has chosen to take time away from the limelight to battle his demons, and she cried with happiness when he told her what he was doing. Confirming they are back together, she said, "I'm not going to sit here and say this will happen or that will happen. I love him and he's the love of my life. I can't say what will happen in 5 years or 10 years. Right now we're taking it day by day. He wants to be a good dad to Cabin and put wrongs to right. I love Jez. I think that's plain to see," she added. "Everyone watched us fall in love, and that was me genuinely falling in love with him. I'm proud of him and take my hat off to him. To admit you have a problem takes guts. Already speaking to him there is such a difference. His priority is to be a good dad to Cabin and I love him. You can't blame me for wanting to keep my family together. Everyone makes mistakes. He deserves a second chance and he's only human. It's just unfortunate we haven't helped ourselves and it's been in the public eye. And there's a baby now." This morning airs 10:30 a.m. weekdays on ITV.